after.
Okay.
In a small hollow in North Carolina, there have been several Bigfoot sightings.
Hunters may need to be on the lookout for something other than deer when they hit the woods this week.
He hadn't been spotted recently, but according to these pictures, the legendary Mothman is back.
The number of UFO sightings is soaring tenfold over the past 25 years.
Now, she's not talking about people. She is talking about ghosts hanging around what some say is a real-life haunted house.
You're listening to Paratalkradio with Ted Wolf and Psychic Cindy on Paratalkradio.com, a member of the WLFE digital broadcast family. Paratalkradio is your one-stop for all things paranormal, the unknown, and the supernatural. Join us every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central for discussions and guests on topics such as ghosts, hauntings, Bigfoot, UFOs, and more. This broadcast is rated M for mature and is intended for listeners over 16. The topics, views, and opinions expressed on our show may not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of Paratalk Radio, our hosts, or our sponsors. Now, live from J-Wolf Production Studio in Ontario, New York, here are your hosts, Ted and Cindy.
Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Oh. What's up, girl?
Not much, Teddy Poo Poo. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good.
I miss
A little
you.
chilly in here today. Whew.
I know. I literally have. Look, this is so long, and I keep pulling it up. So, I have 3 shirts on. Because I don't want to turn my heat on yet. So funny, right?
Well, yeah. But
Do you have a little heater right there or something?
Yeah, you hear it?
Yeah, I heard you beeping it.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Barry.
Yeah. So, how do I log in? Wait a minute.
Barry Martz just mentioned me in a comment.
Nice.
That's what it just came up on my phone.
Well, I'm trying to relay to James, our guest.
Mm-hmm.
Just.
Oops.
Yep.
I'm just going to Paratalk Radio. There it is. Here's our live.
Cool.
I just have to find it in here. Wait. I see.
I was trying to get James all set. So.
Good. Is he okay now?
Hopefully.
How's your parents? How's everybody doing?
We're doing okay. I ended up getting tested for COVID on Friday.
Oh no, why? Oh, 'cause of the school and your nephew? Oh. Are we still? Teddy, I don't know if it's me or is it Teddy that's... Huh. He's frozen for me. Can you guys tell me, am I frozen or is he frozen? Hi, T-Roy. Oh, okay. He just took himself out. Yes. Yep. Thank you, Barry. Yeah, he just took himself out. Look, I'm red. Hi, Shar. Thank you, you guys. Yeah. I was so concerned for a second there. I'm like, is it me or is it Teddy? How Ewan's doing? I'm great. Teddy, I think, is having technical difficulties at the moment. Let's see. It was a very rough. Hey, Kristen. It was a rough weekend for me. There's a lot coming in the universe right now. Like, emotionally. I don't know if any of you have felt this over the weekend. Like, emotional, eating food you shouldn't eat. What else? Neck pain. And shoulders. Neck, shoulders. Not being able to sleep very well. Maybe even have some outbursts of anger. And let's see, what else? There's been several things that have been going on, and it's not you. I want you to know that it's not you. You're actually picking up stuff from the universe right now. It's a lot going on. And it hit me pretty hard over this weekend. And it was rough, to say the least. Yes, my lower back, too. I definitely, I can move my neck now, but it's still here and here. Turmoil, yes, just crazy. Hi, James. How are you? Yeah, you can't get in until Teddy lets you in, and he's having technical difficulties at the moment. I'm still in here, though. He didn't take me out. Yeah. So we're just talking and hanging out, and yeah, so I didn't know if anybody else was having that, because it is something that's going on in the universe. But listen, you're not crazy. Also, I had some people that were talking about their anxiety was kind of high this weekend too. Yeah, today is completely different, T-Roy, for me. Like, I can move my neck. I don't have too many, like, my lower back wasn't bugging me. Oh, you know what the other things were? Was also, like, congestion in your nose and maybe a little cough and non-COVID kind of stuff. Sinusitis kind of things. Like, that was, like, all the stuff that was coming at us from the universe. Yeah. So I didn't know if I had my friends out there that were having stuff like that too. The emotional stuff, that was rough. Ugh. I don't have any parties to go to for Halloween. I'm sad. So my daughter is having a little get together, and I can go do that with her, but then she's got to rush off and go to hit a bunch of parties. But I don't have any parties to go to. Poor me. No. I usually take the boys out trick-or-treating, but, you know, they're 15 and 17 now, and they're like, whatever. Oh, your left knee. Oh, my gosh. There you go. Please, Barry, be careful. Do you guys have any parties to go to? Yeah. Yeah, no, I may just do some magical work at home. Do some heavy manifesting, aka spell work. I will not, however, because it's dang cold here, I will not be skyclad, aka naked, doing spiritual, ritual spell work. Not this girl. No. Your nephew is 9. Oh, he doesn't want to go out? Aw. Yes, I know it's such a weird year for Halloween. Like, do you take the kids out? Do you not let the kids out? Hi, Barb. How are you, honey? yeah, it's just such a weird year. I don't know what to do, if I should let them go out. I mean, yes, they're older, but I don't know. We're thankfully in an area that has not been hit by COVID so harshly, right? So I don't know. I don't know what to do. The conundrum. So if you guys have kids, or do you have nieces, nephews, whatever, grandchildren that are going out? And what is your feelings about that? I just am curious, right? Well, maybe we could find, we need to get a hold of, okay, just hear me out. We need to get a hold of, the Sasquatch people, and maybe they can take the kids out. Could you imagine? Yeah, I have the Sasquatch babysitting the kids tonight. It's fine. They won't get COVID because he's going to make sure it's all fine. Ooh, new Ghost Nation tonight? Oh, on Saturday. Oh. What? Kindred Spirits is joining them? Oh my gosh. Reunion. Hashtag reunion. I love all of them so much. Listen, Jay and Steve and Dave were super awesome, amazing guys. And all of the crew, all the people behind the scenes, camera people, the directors, everything. They were all amazing and funny and just nice people. It's amazing. Ghost Nation is awesome. And I love Amy Bruni and Adam Berry. I want to watch that episode so bad. I don't have regular TV. I wonder if I can stream it. That's interesting. Look, I'm all red. I should stop touching my face. Hi, James Cloud.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, there's my Teddy Poo Poo coming. What happened to you, Teddy Poo Poo?
Lost power.
What? You lost power?
Yeah, it was weird. It just went poof. And I'm like, what the hell?
Well, when I'm around, things happen. Let me tell you.
That's crazy. Listen, it is the time of year, though, too.
Yeah,
I hear echoing. That means I need to put my headset in. Damn it.
Yeah.
Gadzooks.
Yep, that definitely helps, having headphones in or
it does.
earbuds.
Whatever.
Okay,
I hate them because they fall out of my ear holes.
I know. All right,
I'm still getting an echo, though.
Let me pop in my headphones just in case it's me.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, let's see. Did you see what Barry said?
Barry.
Ghost Nation episode. Saturday has Amy Bruni and Adam Berry.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. Beautiful. Oh, good. No echoes. We're good.
Oh, they were super interesting to talk to. I'm getting feedback.
Yeah, there's a little echo.
There is?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can hear myself talk.
What about now?
Yeah. I don't hear it now.
Now it's good? Yay! All right. Good.
Do the dance.
There you go.
My fun
Okay.
week will be the 11th annual Halloween yoga this Wednesday at the Point in Fleming, New York. That sounds super fun, Barry.
Well, I
Travel Channel.
I wanted somebody that we haven't talked to in a while. That's why I invited James back. I wanted something fun to talk about, and what else is there to talk about? Like, Halloween's like right at the end of the week, so one of my favorite movies was
Saturday.
The Exorcist, so I figured let's talk to James.
The Exorcist. Yes, that's his hysterical, actually.
Hey, if anybody's got any information, it would be him, right?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I sure would.
Well, you know, I went and I looked up a little back research on James here a little bit, and I come across let me get it up here. I came across.
Don't believe half of it.
Don't believe. Okay, well, I'm just gonna like say this. I'll read this, and then we'll get into it with James a little bit and see, you know, and he can actually fill us in about this whole thing too, because it was part of I think it was a commercial or something. It says Archbishop James Cloud is a self-described exorcist who says he has had the sight since he was a child. He is also a mental health counselor who focuses on helping people recover from substance abuse. His training, says Cloud, is useful for enabling him to tell I can't even talk. Him to tell true demonic possession from a mental disorder. It says here, quote unquote, I have to differentiate. I can't talk. Differentiate. I'm done with talking. Is this substance abuse? Is it mental health, or is it the legitimate issue that is going on? He told Emily Burris of KOIN News. Okay. If I can rule out the first two, then what I'm left with is something that is potentially legitimate. So that's where I got that from, and I figured it'd be fun because Halloween's like a few days away. I figured we'd talk about exorcism.
Heck yeah.
Good.
Yes.
I should have mentioned it to him before, but I didn't.
Hey, I'm an open book. You just got to know which page to turn to.
There you go. Well, you know, I just watched a documentary on horror movies that had actual, legitimate, weird, creepy, supernatural things happen while they were being filmed. And
wait,
one of them
what?
one of them was The Exorcist, the other one was Poltergeist. Yep. And so there has been some really strange things in some of these movies that have happened. Actors have died, things on set have broken, people were almost killed. A lot of different weird things. So I guess for my first question for James, I mean, we've interviewed you before, so actually, why don't we do this? So you are a bishop, archbishop. Yep. So you've been, how long have you been a bishop?
I've been a bishop since 2012.
2012. Okay, and have you been in a lot of cases where you've had to be involved in something that might have been demonic?
Oh, yeah. So as far as possession cases, I've been in dozens, and haunting cases I've been in hundreds.
I better not be rubbing off on you there, because I can tell that you're having a few words that are missing. And
well, I just got off work, too, because I work in child welfare, and that'll blow your mind.
Oh, yes, too. It would. It's easy to burn out in that area.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
You see a lot of travesties.
Yeah, and a lot of tragedy.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, so you've been on hundreds of cases. We're just going to say hundreds of cases of everything that altogether. And one of the things that I think does scare some people, especially those in Catholicism and Christianity and some of the regular Western religions, that demonic possession and exorcism is real. So
yeah.
Oh, you making too much noise over there, Cindy? basically, I wanted to know and talk about this whole thing because, like I said, I think because of Halloween, but also because I think there's a lot of people going around claiming to be priests or ministers or bishops. I can't say that word. And, I fear that someday somebody might claim to be something and show up in something serious and somebody might get hurt. But
sure.
Schooling and education for this, is this a long process? Is it something that's, you really have to be into this.
Yeah. Well, as far as to be an exorcist, you a lot of it is understudy. So you're going out, you're learning demonology and things like that. You're learning signs to look for, safeguards for everyone involved, that kind of thing. But you're also, you're in the mix from the get-go. And for me, like I have a doctorate of divinity, a doctorate of theology, master's in marriage and family therapy, then a business degree. So, my education is varied, and but each of those things brings something to the table when I'm looking at a case and I get that call. And you got to keep in mind too, when I get the call, it's not like Uncle Buck, knocking on a door or walking down the hall. This is when literally the crap has hit the fan and these people are living in a horror movie. And so everyone I go into usually has a demonic presence. There have been a mix of human and demonic haunts. But really, the demonic haunts are a whole other level than what you would see on TV or, anything that you would see on the Travel Channel or whatnot. I've been on the Travel Channel on In Search of Monsters, It Feels Evil, Ghost Adventures, that kind of stuff. But it doesn't compare.
We'll forgive you for the last one.
Sounds good.
So, well, I guess I'm going to interrupt by asking. So, what would you think the percentage of these cases that are called on are truly demonic cases, though?
Well, like I said, when I'm called, usually they've had paranormal groups.
Hey, Joe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Usually groups have went out. Other people have gone out. One I'm doing on the 7th. Multiple ministers have went out, but not an exorcist. And so, these things are hardcore by the time I hear of them. So
got it.
There are occasion when someone else hasn't done due diligence and it's actually a mental health issue or a substance use issue. Or even like in the substance abuse world, post-acute withdrawal syndrome. People can be having like a fresh come down from their drug of choice. Months later, they get all the same symptoms. They might even drop into a psychosis or something, even if they've been clean 6 months. So I really have to since I'm qualified to do a mental health assessment as well as a drug and alcohol assessment, I basically do a brief assessment for any case. And like Emily Burris said on that article, what I'm left with, if those two aren't there, then it's probably legitimate.
Right. Now, do these cases run through what we hear specifically, like through the movies? Where they speak in tongue and all this other... is a lot of it like that, like what you see in a movie, or is it drastically different?
Similar, but not the same. Okay. I'll be right back. Their facial features... All right. Their facial features and stuff don't change like on The Exorcist. Their face gets all this demonic look. they'll get a murderous look. Their pupils fully dilate so that their eyes go black. They will and can speak in other languages that they don't know. They'll have knowledge of things that they wouldn't normally have knowledge of. A total stranger's private life, the secret things they do that they think no one sees. Well, this person can bring it up just like that. Wow. And then, of course, multiple manifestations in the environment typically go with that. I want some chips.
I know. I was just saying that. She's like,
ooh, even better.
I can't stand those things. I tried. I don't like them.
I love these so much.
I love the ones fresh out of the Hispanic markets. They got the fat on them. They're still juicy.
Okay, folks, we went from exorcism to pork rinds. Juicy pork rinds.
You bet.
Yum.
No. I don't like them. Well, the thing is that...
If only we could get sponsored by Epic. That would be amazing.
There you go. The things that you see on TV now. One thing that I noticed that you said was the eyes dilated. That makes sense. That how they show them with black eyes, and it's like that's where they just dilate like really, to the fullest.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. The speaking in tongues and some of the knowing things that they shouldn't know. I mean, coming from I studied theology as well. I became a reverend myself back in '93, and I had to study a lot of religions and some of their let's just say I got into it for their supernatural myths and all that other stuff. I really got into that stuff, but I worry that like today's society is so screwed up, and I'm really finding a lot more negative stuff, and I'm wondering if we're seeing an incline in some of this stuff.
Oh, definitely. I have an exorcist and 2 demonologists that are under me in the Advent order of exorcists because I'm the superior for that order, and we all agree. That the cases are darker, more insidious. Even more multi-level than they used to be. We really have to take our time with an individual because many of these demonic entities have been wearing this person down for years, and sometimes even since early childhood, putting in little hooks over time. And then we have to rehash everything so we understand what's going on and start pulling out those hooks. Right. Because we could go in and exorcise a person and the demon's gone, but if there are still hooks in there, there's a good chance it'll come right back because there's issues that also need to be addressed, renounced, confessed, to wipe that slate clean so they no longer have that hook in that person to come back around.
Now, see, I've seen I can't say seen, I've heard of cases where it started at an early age, early teens, where something has gotten a hook, as you said, into someone, and then really didn't come to full effect until they were well into their adulthood and become completely nasty, and so how long, I don't want to say like how long, but it must take you a pretty long time to get through an exorcism on something like that, it's taken years for this thing to get into someone and then to have to take it out or force it out. I mean, it would sound like it would take a lot out of you spiritually, physically, mentally, as well as the days and the hours and all that stuff as well.
Yeah. So, the exorcism part, getting rid of it, that's not really the hard part. It's the little hooks, like I was talking about, sitting down with the person, almost basically having a therapy session to try and discover, okay, what was the point of entry? Why were you on its radar in the first place? What are some things? And sometimes it's not this person's fault at all. It could be environmental, family line kind of thing, but most of the time they've dabbled in the occult, and primarily Ouija board.
Really?
Yeah,
now that surprises me.
Yeah.
Not me!
Cindy.
You know me. You know how I feel about the Ouija board.
Okay, so this is an ongoing disagreement between her and I because I do own 9 boards.
Yes.
I owned one. I owned one that was like 200 years old. That was made.
Oh wow!
And the use of them. But of course, I learned how to use it correctly. You know, I did all this stuff. In fact, I did as much as I could to find out information about them before I ever attempted them. So that's one of those things. Education is a first, and that's what you should do. But there are ways to also. That's okay, but you do have to protect yourself. You have to have the knowledge. You have to know what you're doing. And unfortunately, Parker Brothers took a hold of that and made it a game and released millions of them across the world there for several years. So, you know, people were, you know, thinking it was a game and they were doing this and doing that. And it surprises me, though, that you said you had a lot of them that were coming from that. I mean, let me guess, Zozo.
I get the entities naming themselves Zozo pretty often when it comes to Ouija.
What's Zozo?
Yeah, it's a Ouija board demon supposedly. Yeah. That it really was almost like a creepypasta thing that came out. You know, a story that's made up, but whatnot. But Zozo has some historical roots, but the modern understanding of it is more made up than anything. But demons are nothing but predators, and they're all about deception. Right. So they absolutely will use whatever people are expecting.
Right.
And I'm not saying everyone that uses a Ouija board is going to get possessed, but the probability there is
high. You're saying it's high. Yeah. See, I had a case 4 or 5 years ago. I actually had a soldier contact me. Him and his friends were using a Ouija board, and Zozo had contacted them.
Interesting.
And they went through the whole thing with me, and it was about a week. It took me about a week to get them to understand the differences of who was running the board and how it was being done. And pretty much I put an ending to it. It took about a week, but you know, I was still able to help them to the point over the phone, which was great. And then nothing came about, and the board is gone, and they're done, and you know, no effect, which is great. Good. But you know, I really think it depends on the education or what you have up here. I mean, it's like anything else in life. You have to do your research. You have to do your work.
But it's been touted as a game, quote unquote.
And I get that. And it was sold, and it's still being sold on the shelf. To this day.
Yep.
There are some safeguards that they put on them, but it's not like you can. I mean, unless you know the history or somebody knows it, they could definitely make it work again. Your planchette. I mean, your planchette is being the center of the planchette is now completely plastic. It's not. It doesn't have a copper or metal pin anymore. Because of that, it's not glass anymore or crystal anymore. There's a lot of little things that have changed, and that's all in the history of the Ouija as well. But one of the things that stands out with this that people don't understand is that it takes a medium or a psychic or somebody with abilities to run these boards. And this is something that I found over the years. So when somebody, I'm not saying that it can't work if one of you isn't a medium or a psychic or something like that. I'm just saying that it's less of a chance. But there are cases, and you're telling me the same thing, that there are cases where people have used a board and things have happened. So you can't argue you can't argue with statistics, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
for sure.
but like Tim Shaw collects them. I have 9. And, most of them I just keep locked away. I don't use them. I just have them. It's something that I did from way back when. Somebody needed to get rid of them, and I took them. But I safeguard them. They're wrapped. They're put away. I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah.
But that's another thing. That brings me to another point, that there are things out there that we use, whether you're a witch, whether you're a Christian, whether you're a psychic or a medium or a druid, whatever you are that you practice and what you do, there are things that if we don't have the information, if you don't have the knowledge, you should really be protecting yourself and knowing what you're doing before you go ahead with it.
Yes.
It's like the Dybbuk box, however you want to say it. There are some truly scary things that people have talked about with that, and possession's one of them.
Wait, the what box?
The
I don't
Dybbuk
think
box?
I know this. I don't remember this one.
It's so the Dybbuk box
Yes.
is a Dybbuk is a Jewish demon, and supposedly they bind this demon or malevolent spirit into this box. Honestly, over the years, I've ran into things similar to the Dybbuk box,
Thank you.
and
Nick?
it gets cleaned out.
Right. Right.
I think, I want to say, really, it's almost as if the more a person believes in it, the more effect that it actually has.
Yeah, the more power, more energy. It's the same as like your own belief in what your own faith. It's like the more faith you have, the more belief you have. It's sort of like with witches, with conjuring and with the cone of power and all that stuff. It's faith. It's all that stuff that's within you. The same with the chakras and the belief in the white light and all that stuff. No matter where you come from in the world, especially in faith, we all believe in something, and you have to have something to believe in. And it's Joe says, I'm sending snacks to Ted and James. Thanks, bring 'em on.
I'm good for snacks.
So Joe said that I need a dip, and now it's driving me absolutely bonkers because I cannot stop obsessing about the thought of queso.
Ooh, that'd be good.
Wouldn't it be so good? Just shoot. Some queso. Ooh, and even some taco meat. So taco meat and some queso,
You're killing
nachos.
Me.
I'm
You're
killing
me,
me. What are you
Smalls.
talking about? I'm gonna have to make them. Cindy's had enough snacks. Listen, I might eat some more.
There you go. So, other than the Ouija board, what other things have you found? I mean, have you come across any other item to where it has drawn something in like that, to where it affects other people?
Like your cross?
No, the cross doesn't have negative effects.
No, Teddy got it possessed. I'm just kidding him. He's got creepy crosses.
Oh, gotcha.
I have a.
Now,
I have,
if they're creepy, that's one thing.
Let me tell you what I have. I have a. I have the top off of a bishop's staff.
Okay.
That was found in an old home. These people, like when people passed, they went out and they cleaned out their homes, and the stuff went to the auction house and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, long story short, these people cleaned out this house and felt like there was negative energy around them. There was always something happening. So the guy
Teddy, hang on one second. There's a person in here. You have to ban them immediately. They're trying. If they see my name, Psychic Cindy, and they think it's readings, so they're trying to get people to. It's spammer.
Oh.
So just ban them.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. Sorry. They do it to me all the time, and it's a variation of that name all the time.
All right. Anyways,
Sorry about that.
Nope, that's okay. Anyways,
I just
they had
can't
some
do
things.
it. I don't know why I can't.
They had some things going on, and it was negative. So they came and they actually found me, and they basically wanted some sage and some stuff to help clean out the vehicles and what they were doing. So I gave them some sage, and in return, they gave me a couple items, and one of them was a top of a bishop's staff with a crucifix and all that, and then I ended up with a couple of the what do they call them? There are a couple other crosses. I think it's for last rites. The last rites crosses where you open it up and it's got the candles and all that stuff. So I got a couple of those things laying around, but they're not creepy. They're just
weird and creepy. No,
I have them. Hey, whatever. Nothing
I'm
negative.
teasing you.
I know.
I'm teasing.
But
I'm gonna read this about the Dybbuk box.
okay, you do that. So some of these other, as I was saying, some of the other items or other ways or things that may have brought this out, other than the Ouija board, that you could probably talk about.
One of the other big doors is substance use.
Yes.
Because
Absolutely,
the original Greek word for sorcery is pharmakeia, where we get the word pharmacy. And so drug use is actually sorcery, according to the ancient manuscripts. This is how the ancient magicians, sorcerers used to open their mind, if you will, to different spiritual influences.
So it's sort of like peyote for the Native Americans, because peyote is the same thing. That brings them into
also
that state.
they use, what is that W word?
Ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca. It's not a W, but I always think of it as a W.
Yeah.
Yes,
it's
ayahuasca
a mind-altering drug.
But, yes, but there's another one that one of my friends told me about also. It's along the lines of ayahuasca. Yeah. But that's exactly what they're using it for, is spirit trips.
Right. But they've used it for hundreds of years. So, I mean, that's their faith. That's their thing, you know. But I can understand substance abuse, definitely.
Yeah.
You know, it chews you down. It wears you down to where anything can just come in and take over. Right?
Yeah, it definitely can. But, you know, a lot of folks that also experience a possession or oppression by a demonic, they also have a lot of trauma in their life. Because you got to consider that since demons are predators, since they have no redeemable qualities, and they're immortal, they have been alive for millennia. They understand human nature, the human desire system. They're exceedingly crafty, exceedingly intelligent. Not one of them is an idiot. They know how to find someone that's already struggling with something in their life. And then because they're a predator, they mark them and then continue that torment just for the sheer joy of it.
Right. That is so... I mean, I kind of off kilter this a little bit, but I work in a business too where I see a lot of drug addicts come through, and especially meth heads. And what it does to them, their faces, their teeth, it makes them all sunk in, you know, their
holes
face
in their bones.
Yeah,
literally.
it's so terrible. And I've always wondered that. It's like, why are you doing this to yourself? Are you that far down that you can't climb back out, you know? And hell, who knows? I mean, they're struggling in that punchline. They're struggling with their own inner demons, you know? And it's like,
yeah, they really are. Well, it's just like opiate use. You know, a lot of people, we talk about the opioid crisis in the United States. Well, the issue is opiates actually work on the same neurological pathways as love. So it's the same chemical that's released when you use an opiate that's released when you're in a loving, nurturing relationship. And you feel that love, acceptance, oneness with this other person. So if a person has come from a home that there was abuse, neglect, Lord knows what else can go on, and they never felt that love from a parent, and they were never really accepted, using an opiate might be the first time that they actually feel the sensation of being loved. And so that's why opiates can be so addictive. And I have to say that the substances in and of themselves aren't the addictive thing. For instance, you can go to the hospital, get shot up for a surgery with an opiate, and most people don't come out an addict. However, the thing that's addictive with any substance is what it's addressing in here.
Right.
What is it addressing within yourself that you literally could find somewhere else, but this is the quick fix, and you become addicted. And, there's a medical doctor up in Canada, and I just love his work, Dr. Gabor Mate. And he works with addicts all the time in the Toronto clinic. And he says, an opiate addict, getting them to stop an opiate, it's like telling someone to stop feeling loved, to stop feeling accepted and wanted. And so in the process of recovery for an opiate addict, finding solid, nurturing, reciprocal relationships becomes this added needed piece for the higher chances of long-term recovery.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that is. I mean, you think about it, because like we've always talked about, Cindy, and it's something that most human beings don't realize, is that emotions, all the emotions that you have, are so deeply rooted within yourself, within your human body,
thanks, Barry.
that the first time something doesn't click or doesn't go right, it can send a chain reaction through every emotion that you have.
Sure.
And we as human beings, we have to try and understand what's happening to us. And some people take an easier route. And what they do is they become drug addicted. And smoking pot, for instance, to get away from, to calm, to get away from the normal, everyday hustle and bustle. I
also have people that use it to cure their anxiety, or at least that's what they say it does. But
right.
However,
right.
I see that it creates a lot of anxiety.
But I think it depends on the person and what they're actually going through. If they understood what they were actually happening, I'm a firm believer that everybody goes through something. Nobody is without a problem or an issue or something they question themselves about because of
Absolutely.
An emotional. So. If you're able to talk freely with somebody, like a counselor or something like that, they can truly help you that way. But there are times when even doctors prescribe a drug or something that they say will help you deal with it. CBD is a good.
And see, I was just going to bring that up for Joe. Joe said recovery does work, which it does.
I'm on anxiety medication and depression medication. I have been for years, 20 years.
Yeah.
And without it, I would have issues. I know that, but it doesn't affect me to that level. It's different. It's not the same as being drug addicted or possessed.
Nothing like possessed.
Thank goodness, right?
Unless you're in full-blown psychosis, that would be the most similar.
There are people that say that when they take their medication, they feel like zombies, though. So I don't know,
Sure.
So, but I really, truly believe that if we find out who we are and what our issues are, we can usually reach out to somebody else. There's no need to go to drugs first. And we know that going to drugs and using that stuff, whether it be because you're depressed or you don't feel loved or there's something going on, the way you were raised, all that stuff, drugs is not the answer, because look at what we're talking about, possession and exorcism, because if it can pull you down to the lowest that you have ever been, you're opening a door for something else, and you don't want that.
And it'll pull you even lower than you ever imagined.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah, that's just, it's crazy. Joe's like sending you all 1 pint of cookies and cream. What's that last word?
Okay. Each.
Oh,
each.
Oh, I'm good with it.
Yeah, I just made Christmas cookies, so.
Oh, shoot!
Yeah.
Listen, I love Christmas. I love cutouts.
So let's talk about what we see in the movies, like a little more, because of the movie, The Exorcist. You hear like it portrayed in the movies, and I know that some of it you can look up online as well, is there's a lot of training in this. a lot of faith. I mean, faith is probably
Sure.
number one. You have to be strong.
Faith.
George Michael's.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. So how do you? And this is going to be a weird question.
Okay. I'm a weird person.
How?
So, okay.
Yeah. Me. Look at us. I mean,
Yay,
you're with
the
us. So,
weirdos.
come on. So how do you? When does that bell finally click and say, "I'm ready"?
So what I do to prepare for an exorcism, whether it be for a property or a possession, I usually fast for 2 or 3 days for one.
Oh, that's
before.
amazing.
And then I'm in prayer. I meditate on the scriptures. I'm confessing any known fault. Basically, what I'm doing is getting, to the best of my ability, getting myself out of the way so that God can do the work. And once I feel like my pride, everything else is thoroughly whipped down, I'm ready. Because if I go in thinking that I'm someone special, that it's something I'm doing that's whoopee-doo, I'm going to get my butt handed to me.
Right.
Because it will capitalize
Gotta get out of ego.
on pride.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to get yourself out of the way in order for God to do the work.
Wow.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. I totally needed to hear that. Thank you so much, James.
You're
think
very
this
welcome.
is, Cindy, I think this is like the third episode. The word ego has come into play in our conversations. 3 Mondays in a row now.
Well,
because the ego is pretty strong and powerful stuff, and especially when we're talking about things like that we've been talking about, which is past life regression. We were talking about NDEs, near-death experiences, and we're talking about possession. I mean, ego really has a stronghold on us, and you really need to get out of ego. You really need to remove yourself from that place and space of negativity in your mind. The negativity in your mind is the shit that is always telling you you're not good enough, is, you know, your worth is shit. You know, it's all those things that we tell ourselves on repeat and on repetitiveness, right? So instead, we try and stop that and get ourselves out of that, because you open yourself up then to exactly like James said, which is what I firmly believe as what I do as a medium, which is completely allowing spirit to be able to come through, is to push myself aside and push my ego aside.
Well, and you know, pride
Oh
is
God,
the original sin, and
It is.
all other
Spirit
sin comes from pride.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I can
you
see
know,
Spirit
getting
is
rid of
literally
that is
going,
important.
are you listening to yourself right now, Cindy? Yes, I'm listening. Damn it. We've been having a fight over this weekend, so that's why they're saying this to me. We've been fighting, Spirit and me. I'm just saying. And it wasn't out of ego. I'm just saying. I'm trying to run, and they're not letting me.
Well, it's amazing for the things like with preparing yourself for an exorcism that, like you said, you fasted and then you do a lot of praying and you do a lot of
I love
all
that
stuff.
actually.
I mean, it sounds like, and I hate to quote a movie, but it's like he's preparing for battle, and that's what he's doing.
That's true.
And
Absolutely.
and, you know, but it's when you go into something like that, you have somebody's life in your hands. You have
I mean, your own first and foremost.
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
But you have to.
If I'm not prepped, I can have it handed to me. Let me tell you.
Yeah, so you have to be prepared. Definitely. Barry March says, I know during yoga practice, egos are usually put aside.
That's right.
I've never yogaed in my life.
Ah, Joe, thank you.
I think if they twisted me in certain spots, I couldn't get back out of it if I tried.
It's the pretzel move.
Yeah, Teddy's not a pretzel. He's not built for that. No.
Yeah, I'm not either. No.
Do you remember, I'm going to throw it off topic, but do you remember in high school when they tried to make you sit cross-legged and do all of that other stuff? I'm like, ain't happening. Ain't happening.
Crisscross applesauce? Yes. That's what they say now
Not
in school.
happening.
Now I'm
Crisscross
limber. I
applesauce.
can do the cross legs and all that stuff, but
Me
getting
too,
up,
yeah.
now that I'm
The
just
hips.
close to 50, it's like, oh
Me
my
too.
gosh.
Me
It's like
too, James.
somebody pull.
That's
Somebody
right.
help me up. So, yeah. I know, I get-
Yeah.
I just,
Yep,
this is
I get
lower
the
than
same
I thought
thing.
it was.
Now,
well, for my big butt, I usually say, you better get a crane because I'm going to need a good lift here.
I always say, get a tow truck. Somebody call the tow truck.
Yeah.
Stop
get the winch.
Winch.
I didn't mean it in
I can't even with you, Teddy.
I know. I didn't say wench. Well, I did. Winch.
I know.
Not wench.
I mean, I like wench, though. I mean, that's fun.
Okay. Well, getting back on topic here. One of the other things that we find, and I'm going to guess that this works with you as well when you're doing an exorcism, is love, but it's a pure love because of the love of God that you're using.
Love.
Correct? I mean, that's how that actually works.
All you need
Yeah. Yeah, it's the pure agape love,
love is all you need.
where I'm,
Yes.
again, putting myself out of the way, letting God work. And honestly, exorcism is a gift of healing. People don't really connect those things, but it heals the mind, the body, the spirit all at once. And then I seriously do recommend therapy after an exorcism because there is trauma that has occurred while this predator has been messing with these people.
Right.
So, or even really a haunting if it's bad enough.
So what do you do? I mean, are you trying to store these in some place? Well, how are you getting rid of them? Because I have friends that they have stored spirits that they've caught in items, and I don't particularly necessarily agree with that. So I'm curious as to how you remove them.
Yeah, that sounds like something that could explode in your face. That's not something you'd
right,
want to do.
Right, but think of it this way. This is what I have to say about that. I mean, we have free will in this world, right? And this is our
and even the next.
Right.
Yes, and it's I don't necessarily agree with impeding another being's free will, and even if they're of the negative sort, right? And I just am curious, like, what are you doing to remove the entities from them? Like, and how are you doing that? To be more specific, honestly.
Well, I do it just as every exorcist has done since the time of Christ. I'm using Christ's name. It's my faith in Christ that's pushing this thing out. Where it goes, I couldn't care less, as long as it's not bothering this person. I leave that up to God. You know, he's fully in control. I mean, he just thought this universe into existence. I think he can handle a little demon here and there. So for me, I go in basically like a SWAT team. I'm not there to negotiate. I'm not there to hold a conversation. I'm there to get the job done, and then God does the rest. And, you know.
That's a good way to put it, though.
Yeah, that is. I love it. Like, you think about it as, okay, listen, I'm the general. I got my rules. Let's go. This is how it's going to happen. This is what's going on. No room for negotiation. We're just going in and doing what we need to do. Done.
Yeah, and I do set the ground rules with the demon right from the gate. I say, you're not going to hurt this person. You'll only speak when spoken to. You'll not act out. You'll not harm myself or anyone here, and especially not this person. And I command you in Christ's name, and it will comply. But you have to take it basically by the throat and just say, this is what's happening. You don't get a say, and you just get it done.
Right. That's the only question I have now, though. Yeah, it is belief. But, you know, I'm sitting here thinking about this. And when you were asking your question, Cindy, I was thinking about how the druids and witches deal with evil spirits. Some of them, they bind and give back to Mother Earth.
Right.
I mean,
absolutely.
that's where it goes. You know, it's not released, you know, into the universe. It's actually planted back into Mother Earth to do what she does. It'd be the same thing with God. God knows what he's doing. After James does his job, God takes this thing and does what he has to do. It's kind of like none of our business what he does with it. So he just James does his job and God takes over.
Well, God's the master craftsman. I'm just the hammer.
Yeah. So
I'm Mjolnir.
So it's just, it's one of those things where it's faith and belief. You have to believe and have the faith that God knows what he's doing. It's his plan. Yeah. He must know what he's doing.
Yeah.
So that's exactly where I was going with it when I said it's all about belief, because this is the thing, is when it comes to just any kind of spirit activity, and people will come to me and say, how do I get rid of this? I said, well, if I do this, if I cleanse your house, number one, you're going to believe in your heart, know, trust, and believe that it's gone. When you the first moment you say, is it back? Yes. You want to know why? You just gave it a way back in. You don't give it the way back in. You're just like, is it back in? No, Cindy got rid of it. It's gone. They have to mentally say that. So number two is immediately, no. It's gone. Cindy got rid of it. They're not allowed back here.
Yeah. Well, I do the same thing. I basically say you need to have faith because one, this is your house. You need to have faith that God is going to protect you and send the guardian angels to keep you safe. But the problem is, if it's been a long-term haunting, people become conditioned. It's like Pavlov's dog, to a degree.
Yes.
Their bell rings and they start to salivate spiritually.
Yes.
So you have to sometimes work with people that have experienced a long-term haunting to say, don't acknowledge it. Have faith, and if you're a Christian, you have the perfect ability to do just what I do as an exorcist: kick its butt and get rid of it. Take authority.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we always tell people
that's how I. Go ahead,
Cindy. I was just going to say, but that's what we tell people when they say that their house is haunted or something is happening. This is your home. You have to take control. You have to say, "Hey, out! You do not belong here." And your own faith, your own strength, all that you have has the ability to get rid of this and keep it out. Yeah. You just have to know. And the word love,
bitch, speak it.
Four little letters. 4 little letters. Love.
Love is all you need.
Here we go again. But this is stuff that has been written for a long time that we can see. All you have to do is pick up a book with this stuff, and the majority of the time you can see that love, controlling your own life, you have the energy, the ability, the free will to control what happens to you. You know, but you have to have faith in yourself to make it happen. And unfortunately, we have in our society a lot of negative and a lot of things that has changed in the past 20, 25 years. And there's so much more negative out there, and people aren't believing in themselves anymore. The church is it's still there, but it's not as prominent. People aren't going to church as much. They're not praying as much as they used to. A lot of
I'll
things
tell you why. Hang on. Can I touch on that?
Yeah.
There's a difference. There's a difference. Wait a second, though. It's not that they're not going to church. They just realize that church is here. It's not in a space, in a place where you have to go and kneel and say, I supplicate to you. I am submitting myself to you. Instead, they're really believing from a place of spirituality that Jesus is here with me. He's right here with me. The funny part is I have to tell you this, James, is Jesus literally is here right now. I know this sounds crazy, especially coming from a witch, but I do a lot of work with Jesus. He's my dude. Boom. Fist bump. But he really just told me that he really does surround you with love and light all the time. And he knows your trust and your faith and your power. So I thought that was pretty impressive for Jesus to show me that.
Well, I was going on to that where, there are a lot of things that have changed. Yes, we don't have what we had back when my father and my father's father, there wasn't all that stuff. And yes, Cindy, you made a great point. A lot of people
it's not about dogma anymore.
They're figuring out that it is about themselves, which is great, and their belief, as long as they continue and they do their studying and they do their prayers and and all that stuff. Every religion of the world has something that they believe in, and they all have their own scriptures. They all have their own way of praying and all this stuff. And so what I say to people is, you have your faith, you have your belief. You do it your way as long as you feel that you have the strength and the belief and the faith and all this stuff to be you and to be strong and to live your life, then so be it. You know, I don't put down anybody's faith. You know that, Cindy. And I don't care what anybody believes. Either. But when it comes to pushing your trying to hurt somebody else's free will is a different story. And that's what demons are doing. That's what this whole thing is happening, is these predators, as James says, is they're coming in and they're taking somebody while they're at their lowest point and taking them lower. They're coming in and they're savagely invading free will in a person and taking over. Mm-hmm. And that's what I worry about with our future. To be honest with you, I've been thinking about this for a long time.
And this is the thing, is I may not call it demons, right? I will call it negativity, because that's just my personal belief system, because I don't subscribe to Western religion, right? So it's not that I don't think that that's a possibility. I just call it something different, right? Mm-hmm. And the thing is that it's the way you look at it. Like, you cast that aside, you cast that out, then they have to comply, right? And it doesn't matter if we come from a place of Jesus, or we come from a place of Hecate, or we come from a place of Isis, or whomever, right? Allah. I just feel that it's about the trust in the faith. That's what it comes down to. If you have that trust and faith that Spirit has given you, no matter who you subscribe to, they're going to comply. They have to listen to that, because it's truth is being spoken at that moment, right? Because your belief is so internalized and it is manifested outward and projected outward, right? So I just believe that it comes from that place and space of Spirit, right?
You know, and I believe that, Cindy. There's a lot of things that I've seen, like, that I've been paying attention to, and I see a lot. I watch a lot of movies. I love horror, so I watch a lot of that stuff, supernatural stuff like that. And you will see in these movies, more so now than you have in the past, you will see other faiths coming up into the movies, showing how they could be positive and how they, protect their family or their belief as to how to get rid of the negative and how to fight their battles and this and that when it comes to the negative side, as Cindy says. And it's nice in some sense to sit back and say, I like having the all the different faiths of the world being listed now. You know what I mean? Being up here to where, if you're a child, you can pick the one that you want, kind of like on your touch screen,
or even a McDonald's menu.
That's a terrible
I totally, when you were doing that, I totally saw a menu, like a fast food menu.
That's terrible. But what I like,
but
what
it's
I was
good.
saying,
That's a good thing.
Well, but that's exactly what with studying, and James will tell you, when you study different faiths, when you study different religions, the thing that you pick out, like, for me anyways, it was picking out the goodness of it, tried to figure out how they fought their battles, or what their actual belief is, and what their deities believe in, and how they are with the human soul, and just all of this stuff that you can pick out. I mean, I don't believe any religion is wrong. I believe every faith, every religion has what they call a silver string, and if you pull all these silver strings, they all settle down into one thing.
That's a perfect way to put it. That's why I'm eclectic. That is exactly why I'm an eclectic witch. Because I love that Nick said it. He's like, Jesus Christ equals Cindy's dude. So I learn something new every day. But it's true, right? I mean, nobody would have thought, like, if I have people out there, they'd be like, why is a witch relating to Jesus, right? I mean, that's literally what they would say, because those are two completely different and opposing.
Because you can. You're eclectic. You can.
Because we can choose from that. I also have Buddhist beliefs. I also have India gods and goddesses. I
Right.
have Egyptian gods and goddesses. I have Celtic gods and goddesses, right? And Greek. So it's that we can choose. It doesn't have to be so like in a box and go, okay, well, you can only believe this and that's it because there's nothing else out there. Because I studied my world religions as well. I was not a theologian, however. I picked up a lot of different things. No, and it's really interesting and really cool. But it's now more, it's not as frowned upon as it once was, right?
Well, no, because the world today is more eclectic. There's more to choose from.
But we are also in a place and space where we can connect on a much more dramatic level, that we can touch people in the Middle East now, whereas we couldn't in the 80s, right? We have the internets, the interwebs, right?
Yeah.
Where
Technology.
we can...
Yeah.
Yes, where we can speak to people and touch upon them and learn about them much easier than we can from a book that we're taught in high school, which is usually full of malarkey anyway, right?
Well, because it was written way back when, but and they didn't have enough knowledge or information. That's why today's information and having the web and stuff like that has opened up to a whole new world, and it has for even in James's case with people that are exorcists. I mean, they are able to look quickly or quicker, I should say. There's a lot of other things out there. I mean, we can find out anything on the web that we need to. But it still comes down to the fact that there are still things out there that want to do us harm. And
absolutely.
And we have to protect ourselves. Right, and we have to understand this stuff. And for me, with looking into other faiths and other religions, it helped me understand that there is more than one way for this to come and hurt me, or to hurt my family, or to take my soul. You know what I mean? There's so many different things out there, and when you learn about other faiths and even sciences, because there's so many different science for so many different things and the way things are put together. It's like we can't look with blinders anymore, folks. We have to stay open to everything. So I mean, I have friends that are in every religion that I've known and that I know, except for maybe one or two, but they all come from different walks of life, and they believe in something different but yet similar. There's always that silver thread that connects us all. And when I wanted to talk about exorcism, exactly, we're all connected. But the exorcism, this has always impressed me. It has always been one of those question marks, is because I've seen on TV, whether it be a movie or even a documentary, of how this stuff has happened. Like some of the African tribes, the way that they do exorcisms versus how, James does it. And some of the things out there, it's very interesting to see how they do it, but the end result is the same. And I think for me, I want to know more, and I want to make sure that people like James has support from the people, no matter what faith they come from, because you have to believe in someone and in yourself to make this stuff work. You really do. And exorcism isn't fake; it's real. And that was the other point of the show, was to tell people it's not something you just see on TV. This is real. It does happen. And that's why James is here.
We have several friends that do this, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
we do.
And it's important that we have our friends that do this, right?
Well, we just missed James, though. That's why we wanted him on the show. We haven't seen him in a while, so.
Yeah,
I know I'm picking on you,
but I'm just saying that it's important that people understand and know that there are services, that they don't have to suffer alone, right, with whatever they're feeling, right? And this is the thing, is even with James, he can even help them understand whether it is coming from a place of psychosis, drugs, or something paranormal, right?
Yeah.
And that's great.
And then, like for me, I'm very traditional, very orthodox in my belief system, and so folks know what they're going to get with me as well.
Right.
I won't be talking about Buddha or the Hindu religion. It's going to be Christ. So,
Right.
if they want it, well,
Yeah.
what you see is what you get.
Hey, but you know
Right.
what? I have seen so many different types of things in my lifetime that I've seen a witch do some stuff that I thought was amazing. I've seen a Catholic priest do something I thought was amazing. And I think that, like, back again, with all these faiths and all these different belief systems, they all have something to show. They all have something that is important and is great. And we all have something to learn from each other and share with each other no matter what.
And each one has moral laws that are beneficial
Absolutely.
for society.
Right.
Absolutely. But this is the thing, is when you go to an exorcist, you know pretty much that it's having to do with Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, if you don't know that, then you
because
haven't done
it's
any
the
research.
Catholic
Come on.
Church.
I mean,
Right.
come on. I mean, you haven't watched The Exorcist either. You haven't watched the movies. Come on.
Yeah.
You got to watch the
My
movies.
head can't turn and spin.
And spit green
And
pea
I've
soup.
never seen any heads turn and spin. I've never had
Thank
to strap
you.
anyone down. I
You
mean,
never had any green pea soup thrown at you or vomited
no,
at
I've
you?
had vomit. Now, vomit
really?
is a sign of expulsion.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Yeah, I would understand that too.
Foul language?
Oh God, yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. I've been called Lord.
Wait, why do I need to do research? What?
They're picking on Cindy now.
Nick, what do I need to do research on, Nick? You can go
I
ahead
just-
and write it in there.
I just think it's cool. I like being able to have friends that have experienced things that I haven't and are knowledgeable in fields that I have no knowledge whatsoever. And I know that if I'm
Eric?
in a situation where I need James, I know how to get a hold of
Right.
him. So it's one of those
Absolutely.
things that, friends are important, people. It certainly
Yep.
is, especially if you know what they're capable of.
What
And
is he even talking about? Why are you
have-
even
I
talking
have-
about learn something?
I have no idea. He's picking on you.
I just want to know what it is specifically that he's talking about.
I don't know,
Rick?
Cindy. But,
I'm about to expose you.
but it's amazing how the movies portray this stuff, though, and it's just they make it so that it's fun or intriguing
Theatrical.
or keep you at the end of your
Yeah.
seat, which is great. But I
Yay,
myself,
Eric.
I mean, if I knew anyone that had to have a demon exorcised, oh my God, I would be calling James, because it's just one of those things. I'm not versed in knowing how to do it. I mean, I have my own rituals and faiths and beliefs and stuff too, but it doesn't include that. Not that I'm aware of, because I've never had that happen. So not to say it never will. Knock on wood. Anyways, but
Hope not.
yeah, exactly.
That'd be terrible.
Oh, yeah. But there are people, like I said at the beginning of the show, there's people out there portraying to be this, that it scares me, that they actually believe that that's what they can do. And I just hope that any of my friends or any of the people on here come across the true thing, the true exorcism or exorcist, and not a fake one, it's something that's
Well,
real,
I
because-
actually have a story from the Gospels that go hand in hand with what you're just saying.
Okay.
So there were 7 Jewish brothers. They were known as the 7 sons of Sceva. And this was right in the Gospels. You can read it in the scriptures. And they saw Jesus and the apostles casting out demons. So they had no faith in Christ or anything like that. And they're like, hey, buddy, I think we can do this too. That looks like it's pretty cool. So they found a demon-possessed person. And they go up to him and they go, I abjure you in the name of Jesus, come out. And the demon within the person goes, Jesus I know, and Peter I know, but who are you? And it proceeded to beat all 7 of them within an inch of their life.
Wow.
It lashed out, and they were bloody, and they ran away in fear because you don't play when it comes to demons.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Wow. Yeah. Ted, have you stories about
Heard
Mount Hope
stories
Cemetery?
about Mount
Oh,
Hope
okay.
Cemetery. That's what I'm
I
like,
have
in
heard
what way,
stories.
Joe?
I have heard some stories.
Like,
It
in what
depends
way,
on-
though?
Well, the ones I heard of were the people that are buried there. I've heard about a witch that roams the cemetery, which really wasn't a witch at all. It was just crap. But there's a lot of stories. I mean, people, if you really want to know about haunted cemeteries, stay away from Mount Hope, because that's not nearly as.
Is that the
haunted
one
as-
in Chicago?
That's the one in Rochester,
No, it's right
New
here in
York.
Rochester, New York.
It's one of the largest in the world. It's just huge, but
yeah.
Oh, wow.
it's
Beautiful. It's
It is
beautiful.
beautiful. It is.
I'm vaping, so just
No,
so
you're
you
fine.
know. I'm
Vape
having
away.
a Nick fit. I
Vape
usually have
away.
a cigar, but
Hey.
I've been cutting back on cigars.
Oh, well, there you go. Especially since the price here just went up. But I'm
They're
dipping.
taxing them something fierce. Oh, there. Well, I noticed the bottle earlier.
Yeah,
and I go,
dipping.
oh, someone's chewing.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, it's disgusting.
There's my demon right there.
Yeah,
It's
well,
disgusting.
my demon's called
Teddy,
Nick.
That's so gross.
There you go.
Your demon's called Nick.
Nick and I have a relationship.
Just so you know,
Nick.
New York State just went, their tax now on tobacco products is 75%.
Wait,
bag,
how is that possible?
Yeah.
Like, it just
Good
is,
grief.
a pack of cigarettes now is close to $13. A bag of Red Man Chew is now $15, and
Holy
a bag
crap.
of Lee Garrett is now $18. So I mean,
Wow.
everything that was $1 is now either $1.50 or $2. I mean, nothing is cheap anymore. New York is really just, it's terrible.
They
That's
definitely don't want you
absolutely
smoking
crazy.
or anything with tobacco there.
Well, that's because New York is feeding New York City, and New York
Well,
City is
yeah.
in trouble. So that's
Yeah.
that's why. But
And the reason I'd never move there.
Right.
Let me have my freedom. I'm a constitutionalist, by God. There's freedom in America.
yes, there is. Yes, there is.
Yeah, that is insane.
Yeah, it's a wonder that any of us still are able to do what we do, because there's so many new laws every day, a new constraint, put on us
Yeah.
to where we can't do what we normally do. Thank God for wide open spaces for my property, that here we've got enough acreage to do whatever we want. So outside and inside, but once you step into the rat race of the world, man, you follow the rules.
Yeah.
You have to. It's
Yeah.
scary in the way
Yeah.
things are now. And like I said in the beginning of the show, the negativity and the amount of negative energy that surrounds us all these days is the highest it's ever been.
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
I mean, we have
terrible.
this is the most divisive time frame in a very long time.
Well,
Very
there's such
divisionary.
a great darkness right now over a lot of major cities, but also over the nation itself.
Yeah.
I don't
And,
think
I don't know what the solution is, honestly.
so. Can I tell you guys something?
Go for it.
So
You're pregnant.
right,
We're having a discussion.
pregnant.
You can.
I'm pregnant. I'm having like multiple.
Well, congratulations.
No. I'm pregnant with thought. How's that?
There
I'm
you go.
pregnant with miracles.
Yes, I'm pregnant with miracles. Yes, I love it.
Watch that damn,
so this is the thing, is-
damn butterfly wings are going to pop out behind her there in a second.
So what's going on and why we feel like heaviness is a lot of people going through a lot of their shadow side and their shadow work. And that's because all over this planet right now is a space and place where we are trying to raise the consciousness levels for the collective. And as we do that, we have to purge a lot of shit. So where do you think that negativity, it's feeding somebody and other things, right? So they are really loving the negative stuff that we are trying to purge. And so that is a huge thing right now, that we're trying to raise this consciousness vibration to a much higher vibration. And in that way and thinking and belief system is that all this negativity has to go somewhere. So something's,
yeah, well, it's definitely affecting political sides. It's affecting the faith. Oh, yeah. It's attached itself to people, as in attitudes and egos, and oh my God, it's so terrible out there.
It is not Nick at all. Nick, no, nope, it is not named Nick.
Yes. Oh, thanks, you were answering Eric, because he says there's folks that embrace it instead of cause it's a part of who we are as humans. We are as a human, as an animal, and animal with intelligence, where I don't think the animals
sometimes
are cats and dogs, and I don't think the animals, besides ourselves, because we're supposed to have intelligence, gets affected as we do. But that's why faith comes into play. That's why belief comes into play. That's why knowing that our emotions run deeper than we ever thought, and the faith and the belief actually can help turn that around. So no matter what you believe or what your faith is, you need to tune into it now more than ever, I think, no matter what, because there is just so much out there.
And it's about really, getting out of ego, right? We've already talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because that negative source will just feed on the negativity that is in your mind, and
it's so funny how this whole conversation and how this all started as exorcisms to everything else in the world.
Well, it's all connected.
Because
it is.
It is all connected. Because this is the thing, is there are people that are a lot of different beliefs that watch this show or maybe listen to this show later on. And if they think that, the only way that there's negativity is called demonic possession and stuff like that, then they're not going to understand that there's love and light in this world, and love and light rules over everything, right? And that's what we need to make sure, is that they understand that love and light is that energy that comes from spirit, that whether we name it Christ consciousness or we name it just spirit, right? Or we name it Allah, or it just makes so that they understand that faith and trust and belief needs to be there, that can rid this space and place of negativity.
Yeah, and like for me, because I've been an empath ever since I was a kid. I've had the sight ever since I was a kid. And so I'm affected
That's a hard question, Barry.
by emotions,
Yeah.
And so for me, when I feel like I'm being overwhelmed by the negativity, the hate, and other stuff that's out there right now on every side of the aisle.
Absolutely.
I simply look at the cross for me, and I refocus myself back on the basics of my faith. Mm-hmm. And so that helps propel me forward, because only by focusing on God, I realize He's got this. He knows what He's doing.
Right.
Nothing's, everything is in His hands. So there's no reason for me to get sideways or whatever else, even though I kind of do, because I'm a human. But at the end of the day, He's got it. Why do I need to fret about things outside of my control?
And see, I think that's important, because a lot of people, they think that we as humans, we have to handle everything. We have to handle it. We are the part that's responsible.
Yeah, because you have to learn that you can't control everything. Control is not our thing.
It's the great big lie, right? So instead, isn't it about like when we can't handle something, we ask spirit to hold it for us because we can't hold it anymore? And it's time for us to understand that it's beyond us, and for we're not just supposed to have that information right now or hold that space. It's for us to allow it to be given over and handed over to spirit so that they can help us and really reach to a place and space of groundedness and centeredness again, right? Because then you can then think more clearly. Once you are not holding that ego stuff, right? You've surrendered it, right? And then it allows you to be in that space where we can go, oh, thank you so much, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like the old saying, sometimes he calms the storm, sometimes he calms his child. And you just have to be still and know that he's God.
Yes. Sometimes we just have to shut the fuck up and listen to spirit.
We do.
Right?
Yes.
It's the truth, though.
Yeah. It's true. It's true.
Yeah. What did Chanel say? Chanel said, a lot of positivity and light and a hint of trucker.
Yeah. That's true. That's what you get when you meet Cindy or talk with Cindy. It's absolutely true. There's no holding her down.
No. Listen, my dude is Jesus. Boop. He's right here. He knows me.
You know,
he created that. Listen, Jesus and I have already had this discussion, and he laughs wholeheartedly about it because he's like, I did, and I'm like, listen, if I'm a part of Jesus, Jesus is a part of me, so Jesus got some trucker in him, okay?
Well, he did make the whips in the temple and whipped everyone out when they started buying the things of God.
Oh, no. Now we're talking about the little F&M. No. Oh, my gosh. Cindy's done. Flip her over. Oh, man.
Oh, that's just so funny. That's going to make me laugh so hard that I cry. Jesus, cover your ears. Earmuffs.
Well, trust me, he knows what's being said.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he knows.
Yeah, nothing hidden.
That's right.
Nope, spirit watches you have sex, people. They see you in the shower.
Truth. It is a disturbing truth.
It is a disturbing. Listen, they watch you in the shower. I know what you do in the shower. Okay?
Hey, before I have an exorcism, a lot of times I'll be scratched or attacked in the shower or on the toilet.
Yes.
For goodness sake. It's like the most vulnerable areas. It happens.
But the medium is the water. You understand that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The receptivity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I get a lot. Listen, spirit comes to me a lot before, like if I have a reading that I have to do or a group reading or a psychic party. Listen, spirit, I'm like, listen, can you just give me some time in the shower? Nope. They got to give it to me right then and there.
Yep.
Well, we learn something about Cindy every episode.
I talk to dead people, and they like me in the shower. But listen, I mean...
Don't look for that on HBO. It's going to be on Cinemax. Trust me.
Perfect.
Oh, Skinemax. Okay.
Listen, but it's true, because think about it this way. It's where you're completely naked and vulnerable, right?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you are in a space and place where you're really trying to cleanse yourself. Not just the physical body, but the ethereal body, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a space and place where you're not layered. You are naked, literally naked, right? Mm-hmm. So there's nothing that you're protecting yourself. This is sometimes an armor, right? It's a facade. Mm-hmm. It's bullshit, right? Because the truth of the matter is we're all naked. When we take our clothes off, we're all naked. We get to the place in space where we are cleansing those untruths off of us, right? And it's the perfect space and place for them to try to get their message across. Mm-hmm. Physically for you to keep you away, right?
Yeah. And for me, I just kind of go, really? That's the best you got? All righty. Well, you're going to
Right,
see what's going to happen to you.
No, Nick Moulet. Cindy can be president, and Teddy can be my vice.
Oh, Jesus.
He Nixon. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe.
I don't want
Nick
president.
says Teddy
I don't
can
want,
be president
nope,
and
I don't
Cindy
want
vice.
it. I don't want it. I don't want any
couldn't
part of
pay me for
politics. Nope.
Now, first of all, they would never hire me as president
Me
because
either.
I have too many beliefs that are scary for other people. Like, my mind is too open.
Oh, and your energy is way too high to be president.
Listen, oh my God, we would have so much fun!
No.
Smiles would be law.
I don't know. That's just too scary for me. I don't even want to think about it anymore. Out of my head. Done. Yeah. But anyways, I want to get back to exorcism and exorcist because I wanted to kind of. You touched on it a couple times, and I wanted to get back to it before we forgot because we got off track. But there are.
But it's
so people
not. It's
understand,
all interrelated.
I know, but what I want people to understand is exorcisms can be done on people, but also on buildings and places, and
items,
and I wanted James to kind of explain a little bit about that because I believe that there's a mass amount of people that still believe it's only a person that can be, demonized. Have a demon within it. Because we know that houses, we've known, the Hinsdale house had a demon in it, and it had to be exorcised. And objects. And I just think that's something that gets lost sometimes in conversations with exorcisms. Yeah. And I just wanted to touch on it a little bit. So,
yeah. So I'm going to give it to you from the Judeo-Christian perspective. So you have a third of the angels that fell with the Luciferian rebellion when Lucifer said, I'm going to sit on the throne of God. I'm going to be worshipped. And God wasn't having any of that. Yeah. And God gave them a backhand and they all went bye-bye.
Hi, Brent.
On top of, so that's part of the demonic. Then you have the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim, the hybrids between the sons of God and the daughters of men. They were never meant to be part of creation. And so they don't go to really heaven or hell. So they wander. And they need a person, place, or thing to inhabit because they still seek to be alive. Even though each and every one of the Nephilim, you can read all of the accounts, were evil to the core. They were murderous. They were violent. They were, of course, massive too. Where the Nephilim, Rephaim, Anakim are the giants of old. And a lot of folks think that the story of the Greek heroes, Titans, and others come from the Nephilim. Right. Because scripture says they were the men of old and full of renown. So they were well known to be vicious warriors. So they need a person, place, or thing to inhabit. That's what they do. So absolutely, properties can be infested. Objects can be infested. Now with objects, though, it's more to infest an object in order to find a broader audience, if you will, because items can be bought and sold and shared around and whatnot. And so that helps them spread their malevolence, their wickedness, their disease and filth. So that's why they would attach to an item. Not that the item itself holds any power. It's just an item that will most likely change hands. And antique stores are notorious for those kind of things.
Right.
And I've cleaned quite a few of those.
And it's interesting because that's what the Dybbuk box said. Because I had no idea of the story behind it, but that's what it said. It was from an antique store, and it was a wine box.
Yeah.
Cabinet.
Yeah. And they made it into this cage. And technically, you know, from my perspective at least, you can't cage a spirit. It's spirit. It'll do whatever it wants, but
Right.
it will stay with an object if it can suit its purposes. If you get my drift.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so also I've encountered human haunts to properties and whatnot. Those are usually as a result of a traumatic death or a suicide or murder. So, and we read it like in the book of Revelation that the saints
That's
are.
a scary book, by the way.
I love it.
I knew he was going to say that.
I probably, listen, it terrified me. I was a kid when I was 11 years old, and I did a whole course of study with my aunt and uncle on Revelations. It was terrifying as a child to hear all of this stuff.
It can be, but if you read to the end, God wins. So it's good. But, like in Revelation, it says the saints are underneath the footstool of God, and they cry out for justice and vengeance, really, those that were killed. So, and we read elsewhere in the scriptures that the earth is God's footstool. So you can look at the very first murder in the Bible when Cain slew Abel. Right. His blood cried from the earth to the throne of God. So this is what causes hauntings. And most of the hauntings are what's known as purgatorial spirits. These are folks that are on their way to heaven, but still have to get themselves out of the way, so to speak, just like we all do to connect with God. So 99% of the time, whenever you're investigating a haunting, they're going to ask for help. Well, the reason why they want help, they want you to pray for them. They want you to intercede for them and help them out. So for me as a bishop, I'm also authorized to grant absolution from sin. And so I will absolve the spirits, and then I will pray that the angels take them where they need to go. And 99% of the time, it solves the haunting, and I'm usually very kind to the human spirits. It's the demons that, we have a mutual understanding. I hate them, they hate me, and we're going to have an issue. But the human haunts, not so much.
So, I would like to, because you're talking about a bishop, and so I want to hear about this hierarchy, right? So what religious faction of the church are you? Like, is it Catholic? Is it Christian? Well, Catholic and Christianity are the same thing.
Yeah, they're the same.
But I like Episcopalian, Methodist. What is it that you're part of?
So I was ordained an Anglican deacon, Church of England.
Thank you.
And then I was ordained an Anglican priest, and then finally consecrated an Anglican bishop. I'm currently associated with the Advent Catholic Church of Antioch. So it's an Orthodox jurisdiction. And Orthodox are Catholic, like Greek Orthodox, Russian Orthodox, those guys. And so that's
Nick,
really what
crazy.
Oh, geez.
I don't know where these people get this stuff from. He gets it. I don't want
we
that
are
responsibility.
all of God. Do you understand?
I don't
we are
want that
all
responsibility
gods and goddesses.
either. Yes, but
we
I don't want that
gods
responsibility. No.
We are just the human form of them. Does that make sense?
But yeah, I hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, it did. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have friends that are in. Oh, what I was.
Hi, Chanel.
Hey,
you
Chanel.
do? Thanks so much. I just haven't.
Plato. I'm trying to remember which one he was. Plato's a part of the Mexican.
Plato Angelakis. Yes.
The Mexican Catholic something.
Yes. I can't remember exactly the name of it, but yep.
Yeah.
And he's up in Canada.
Yeah, and then. Yeah, anyways, we have enough friends that are in all different. That's why I love them all. I love everybody. But I love that they all come from different places. We love you as a pain in the ass, Nick. Yeah.
You can make my blood boil, though.
Demon,
be gone!
And it's not a big purple dinosaur singing, I love you, you love me.
We're a happy family. With a great big hug and a kiss from me to you.
Oh my gosh, really? You're going to keep singing this?
Too?
What the?
Yeah.
I loved it. It was such a sweet song.
Barney wants me to take a long walk off a short pier. You know.
Now there's a demon. Barney's a demon.
He is not.
He's a
freaking
tormentor.
Dinosaur. You guys are so ridiculous.
He's one of those kids in school you just want to kind of like
That's right,
trip.
Nick.
Sorry,
Stop being bullies.
Sorry.
Yes, Nick. I'm sure you.
You know,
did.
I really
I had that with Jesse. Jesse and I watched it all the time.
I find that these movies of The Exorcist, overall, all the movies that are out there that talk about demons or creatures like that, or The Exorcist, The Poltergeist, all these movies that are out there that kind of thrill us in the inside because of the fear and all that other stuff. But I was always raised with a thought, which Cindy's heard me say a million times, that, you know, in every story there's an ounce of truth.
Rubber
and
ducky,
we hope that...
you're the one.
Really, Cindy? Shush.
I'm sorry, I was told to.
With
Rubber ducky, you're the one.
Oh my God!
You make that time lots of fun.
Yay! Thank you, Chanel.
I'm multi-talented.
Yes, I see this.
But what I wanted to say is that with the movies, there's an ounce of truth with this stuff, and that they do some research with this, with trying to show us as much as possible of how things are done, like The Exorcist was when they were actually doing the exorcism. I know there's some stuff that, you know, was fake, which doesn't happen, like the body or the head twisting around and all that other stuff.
Yeah,
but,
no.
you know, it's to me, it's pleasing to see some of this stuff, and that's how I got into researching some of the other things as well. And I actually mentioned at the beginning of this that I was watching the documentary about the movies where actual things had happened on the making of some of these films.
I'm curious. Like, did they list like the things that had happened?
They were showing like.
I want to know
not,
this. Hi, Kimberly.
The Wizard of Oz was one of them, because the Wizard of Oz actually had a death associated with it.
It's literally in the movie. You can see the guy climb the ladder and hang himself.
Yep, Poltergeist. The majority of the actors and actresses either came down sick. Some of them actually died. There was things on set that
the little girl died.
Yep.
Yeah, and the oldest sister was beat to death by a boyfriend. Yeah.
Yep, and one died in a car accident. One of the actors.
One of the little girl that played Carol Ann, right? Isn't that
she died of a stomach obstruction, I believe.
Yep, she died.
And I thought she was the one that her stepfather had killed her, or father.
No, that was the oldest sister.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and Carol Ann actually was able to make the second movie. She died in the second, not the first.
Yep. Right after it was almost done filming.
The Exorcist had issues as well on set. There was a couple other lesser films. Spit on My Grave actually had problems. There was other movies, but you can actually see a list of them online if you look them up. But it's amazing how I think what happens is that when we start thinking about how true this stuff is when other things are let in. And so this is what happened with these movies, is that maybe it was too close to the real side of it, or there was just something there that allowed
there was
something to
there
come.
Was truth,
you know?
there was truth
that allowed
spoken.
it to come in. And so, you know, even though Hollywood is notorious for being haunted, and which most people don't understand, but you know, you have to think about it. They do bring up a lot of the past, and some things can happen. We know the energy cannot be destroyed. We know it can be manipulated. It can be moved. It could be, you know, all that stuff. So it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, so
it can only change form.
Right.
Yeah, I was down in L.A. when I did In Search of Monsters, I think it was, for the Jersey Devil episode, and we were filming the interview piece in this penthouse executive's mansion that's only being used for film shoots and stuff like that. And the personal assistant, I got out of the car and I told the personal assistant, I said, well, there's an old lady just standing there looking out at us in the window. You know, his eyes got big. I'm like, it's going to be an interesting interview. We get in. The audio lady, she's hearing full-blown conversations, and no one is talking. They hear footsteps coming down a hall. The lights go on and off. The cameras start malfunctioning. And they're like, James, what's going on? I said, one, when I come onto a scene, for whatever reason, these guys go bonkers. They do not like me. I don't like them. And they just act up like little spoiled brats.
Right.
And they're like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, it happens. You know, it's not. And I have a target on my back on top of everything else. So, yeah, Hollywood is very, very, very haunted.
Chanel just put in here, Canoga Park, Los Angeles, California. U.S. Judith Eva Bars, June 6th, 1978, July 25th, 1988, was an American child actress of the 1980s. She had her mother and Maria were killed in July 1988
Oh, yes.
as a result of a double murder-suicide perpetrated in their home by their father. Yep.
Joseph.
So there is a lot of shit out there. You know, what he just brought up kind of made me think about our episode with Ghost Nation, Cindy, when, I mean, with what we caught eventually there and not, I mean, we had gotten...
That was crazy.
We had gotten actual video of a little girl talking to another little girl that actually responded to her. And you actually heard the voice. And then we actually got a...
Yes,
it had to be a manifestation. That's the only way it could be described. The actual forming of a manifestation. Yeah, I mean, it was like a black mass, and then all of a sudden it turned into a person and kind of walked right in front of the camera. And it was one of the weirdest and freakiest things I've ever seen in my life, to be honest with you.
Wow.
You know, and we were one of the only, I mean, that episode still is out there for everybody to see, and it's amazing. Nothing else has ever been caught like that, ever. And it was very strange the way it happened. But thinking about it, there was so much turmoil and disaster with this guy that lived in this home. There was so much going on between the people he was involved with and everything else that it made sense. You know, that his own energy brought this stuff there. Well, or made it come to life, I guess, is the best way to put it. Mm-hmm. You know, it's amazing. But it's scary, folks, to think that, you know, if you sit back and think the evil or negative doesn't exist, you're wrong, because it does. And there are people that can help, and all you have to do is reach out. And to know that you have free will and you have... the strength within yourself to handle most of these situations. What's the line that's always said? God would never give me something I could not handle?
Basically.
Yeah. But the interesting thing about with that line is that he actually does give us more than we can handle sometimes, because that requires our faith in him.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
To finally give up our control and trust.
I've heard that on other levels as well. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Chanel also says, I had an invisible friend as a child. I saw her, no one else did, and I swear she was real to this day. She was a slave girl in a home I lived in Welch, West Virginia. That's cool.
She lived in your class.
Well, Cindy had an invisible friend.
I did?
Yeah.
My sister had an invisible friend.
Oh, I thought you had one too. That you used to talk to in the living room.
Mine wasn't. It was more than an invisible friend. She literally was my cousin's cousin who was murdered.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, and they just solved her case. Literally just solved her case. I was 13. I was 13, and yes, Wendy Jerome, her murderer has just been caught. He was in Florida.
That's great.
Yeah, it was amazing. Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We've gone past our time. We've come up to the second hour here. So up to the top of the second hour. So basically, I want to thank James for coming here. We've had a great night. I enjoyed all
I
of
have
this.
enjoyed you so much, James.
I've enjoyed having a conversation.
This is great.
Absolutely.
Well, it's been a while since you've been here with us, so
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. When's the last time it was?
It's been over a year.
I was going to say, I thought it was last year. Yeah.
Yeah. But
because I think it was when we still had the studio downstairs. At the shop. I think so.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a whole new platform for us because we didn't use this the last time, did we? No, we were doing something else. Yeah, I don't think we used this. But yeah.
No, we didn't use StreamYard yet.
Yeah.
No, not last year because we had the studio in the bottom floor of John's studio.
Well, it's just great though, so we can actually see people and talk to them. That's why I like this platform. That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah, we didn't have
great.
StreamYard until this year. This is awesome. I love this so much.
Yeah, so do I. But James, do you have anything you want to say to people out here that final thoughts or
and promote yourself?
Like
what do you have coming up and stuff like that?
Yeah, any of that stuff.
Oh,
definitely.
Okay. Let's see. I have my own live stream Sunday nights at 6 p.m. called The Exorcist Journey on Facebook. I actually use StreamYard here.
Awesome.
It's great, right?
I have a podcast that is it's called Wilderness Call. That's also on Facebook, but it's also on every podcast platform as well.
Awesome.
If folks are in Southern Oregon and they want to look at KTVL, there's a 3-part series that I did with the local news station, and they're airing it right now.
Awesome.
There is a studio talking about a series or something, but it's Hollywood. I never take their promises with a grain of salt. It's like whatever. But
Barry asks, do you have any books?
I do have a book. I have, and it's actually, my book actually started as a diary. And then I kind of tried to morph it into a chronological order. But it details my family history, my early encounters, and even some of my cases that I've been on. And it's called Walking with Ghosts, an Exorcist Memoir of the Paranormal. And that's on Amazon. And folks can find it. Let me think. I don't pay attention to half the stuff I do.
Okay, re-say what you said again for the book, because I want to put that in here. Walking
with Ghosts, an Exorcist Memoir of the Paranormal.
Perfect.
Yeah, and it details a lot of. So my mom, the site. So for me, I'll put it in terms most folks would understand: post-cognition, precognition, psychometry, clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyant, that stuff. I have other terms for it because that's not really in keeping with my belief system. But yeah. So, but my mom's had that too, and so there's a lot of events that she actually wrote a chunk of that book too. So
wow, that's
check it out.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I love that. You did it with your mommy.
I did. I love my mama.
Yes, I love that so much.
Yeah.
Oh, let me see here. I'm actually finding the link. Here we go. I'm just going to put the link right in because I found it right on Amazon, like real quick. That was quick.
Good.
Real quick.
Quick like.
Oh, sure. I hit the wrong button. Technology.
That's how it goes, Teddy Poo Poo.
Okay. So here's the link, guys. Not
that they can get the link, but they can...
No, but they can at least look at it, write it down quick if they'd like to check out his book. Write that down. And actually, if you just put Walking with Ghosts, I think that's what I did. It came right up. So I mean, it was
That's great.
Cool. Yeah. It's nice to be able to promote your stuff and everybody else's.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. But like I said, I don't pay attention to half the stuff I do. Most of it I just do. I never seek it out, really. It just, people ask me to do things. I'm like, yeah, sure.
Well, it's one of those things that we all have something to share, or like I always say here on Paratalk Radio, is we all have something to bring to the table. And
that's right, Teddy.
And this is important stuff. Hey, think about it. The Last Supper, everybody has something to bring to the table.
Yep. Yep.
So,
you can also find me on I just found out a couple of days ago I'm on IMDb too. So you can find
great.
This
because
TV stuff I was on for that too.
I'm on there as well. Yeah. That's
I
cool.
told you, Nick, to hold your horses. Teddy's going to tell you what his show is tomorrow.
Oh, he wants to know what my show is tomorrow? I have no clue yet. I pulled a Cindy. I won't know until it happens.
Say that. I actually know what I'm doing.
Finally.
Okay, so I know that we've got to say goodbye to our bestie here, James. Thank you so much for being here. And you guys check out his book and his podcast and his...
He's got a lot of information, so if you just put his name in, believe it or not, in Google, you'll find out a lot of stuff about James, which is very cool.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah, it'd be hard for me to hide.
Well,
listen,
Cindy's podcast is on Thursday night, right? Thursday night, and then mine is only on Tuesdays now. So, but we all love what we do here at WLFE,
We do.
And it's a great network for new shows coming in all the time, which I'm really excited about.
Yes, we do. Growing our family.
Oh yeah, our family here is really getting big. Cindy, what do you have planned for Halloween, or Samhain, as you say?
Yeah. So, well, I'll talk. Can I talk about all of it? Like our week?
Sure. So
Listen,
what you gotta say?
I didn't know if I was waiting because sometimes we just wait to do this. We say goodbye to James or our guest, and then
I don't want to cut him off. He can sit here or he can leave. It's
right.
up to him.
Absolutely.
I've got dinner waiting for me, I think.
Oh, well then go to dinner.
Oh, wait, tell us what's for dinner. Tell us what's for dinner, though.
I don't know. It smells like pork chops.
Oh.
I love pork chops.
And my tummy's telling me I need to go. So.
I've literally been craving. I've been craving shredded pork,
Oh, yeah.
What it's called?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I need to make it this week. It has to be done.
We have a few people on here saying, please bring James back. We certainly will. He will. We will definitely have him back. We love James.
Yes. Thank you so much, James.
You're very
go
welcome.
Enjoy your dinner. Oh my gosh.
I shall. It'll be awesome.
Thanks, James, for putting up with us tonight. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. Take care, guys.
Take care.
Too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. So, what's coming up for me this week? I have my Taco Tuesday, as Teddy likes to call it. It is Tarot Tuesday on Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. Well, I say 7 to 9 p.m. It's supposed to be like 7 to 8, but then I talk too much and I do way too
Cindy
many
talks
readings.
too much, really?
What? And that's I start at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I usually go till whenever I want to. And then I have on Thursday, I have my Just Cindy podcast, and this week it is going to do with Samhain, and I was thinking about doing a ritual, so it's really a Samhain-based ritual, kind of based like Halloween, pagan-y, fun stuff. And then on Saturday, I'm supposed to go to a Samhain ritual, but I don't know where it's at right now. So, but yeah, I want to go trick or treating with the kids. So I was talking to them earlier about it. It is supposed to be cold, and I was talking like, if they were gonna take the kids out or not, and it's a big uproar right now, so we don't know.
Well, I know. Thanks, Kimberly. I have a lot going on for Saturday as well. And
what are you gonna do?
Oh God, I always spend the first part of Halloween I spend with my godson, where we take him trick or treating. Always do that. My niece sent me a picture of him. He's all dressed up in he's being Spider-Man this year, which is he's
Yay,
so adorable.
I love
So it's
Spider-Man.
cool. And then I will come home. I will light some candles, and because it's actually our New Year's, I will.
It is, which is New Year's.
Yep, I will be doing some remembrance candle magic and stuff like that, and welcoming in the new year. That's what I'll be doing.
I'm going to do some heavy spell work for myself too, manifesting work, because it is a blue moon, full moon. Mm-hmm. It is a big deal, and it's Samhain. It's the witch's New Year. I just have to. I have to do some really good. But I will be doing remembrance stuff for the dead as well.
Yeah,
my family, I carry them with me every day.
There's a lot of magic in the air.
It is so heavy, right? It's so tingly.
It's nice.
It's
nice.
It is
and I've been hearing
really
from
nice.
friends I haven't heard in a long time, telling me what they're doing for Samhain. Yeah, and it's like, it's just nice. It's nice to hear from people I haven't heard from a long time, and some of them actually called me. It's like, do you remember this spell? I'm like, yeah, I remember. And, so that's like people will ask me for things. And that's why for me, with my herbs and getting them done is always important. Harvest time with pulling stuff and getting them dried and stuff. It's important for Samhain. So, there's a lot of that stuff happening. I made some really cute little mini sage wraps for burning, little minis for people. They're single,
so cute.
like single uses and stuff like that. So I've made some of those. I've got to have some more made by the end of the week, and they're just gifts. I'm just giving them as gifts. Yep.
That's amazing. I know that you had told me that I need to come out, and I just.
Well, I actually what I'm got planned is I with all the peppermint and the spearmint and the catnip and all the herbs that I've got, it's just spending the day tomorrow pulling leaves, getting them dried. I'll have a present for you. I'll probably have a nice mixture for a tea for you for relaxing and all that stuff. Will be my gift to you. There's just going to be a lot of little things that I'll have for friends that I'll give away for the new year. So.
I think that's a beautiful thing, Teddy Cooper.
Well, we all have to do our part, and that's my part. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you have so much knowledge with your herbs. I really think that should be one of your next books.
I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. I've already got 2 on the board, though. I've got to finish, but.
Listen. They can be on the board and you can start another project. This is the thing. It's all about energy and creating, right?
That's true.
And it's not necessarily about stagnating and ruminating in that. So obviously those are still on the back burner.
I know.
So get some new fun stuff going in your brain, in your mind.
Guys, I have no idea what's happening.
Will follow.
I have no idea what I'm doing tomorrow night. I might do a little reading. I might pull out some herbal books and do some herbal stuff. Who knows? Maybe some things that would kind of help people in their times of need and stuff. Who knows? But we'll pick something out for tomorrow. It'll be fun. And speaking of Halloween, as I was talking to you about Christmas cookies, they're actually Halloween cookies. I made bats, I made pumpkins, I made ghosts, and I made black cats.
Yay! I want some.
They were delicious.
You notice how he said were.
No, I still have
some. They were delicious.
I actually gave them to the kids for Halloween instead of candy. I gave them cookies. That's why I made them.
Good.
So.
Beautiful.
All right, guys. Well, we have had a fun time here tonight talking with James Cloud.
Thanks so much, you guys, for joining us.
Please do not forget that he has a book out there that you guys can pick up. Just go to Google and put in at the top "Walking with Ghosts," and you will find it. And just look up his name, James Cloud.
Yes.
Great guy, has a lot of knowledge, heavy faith, and when you need somebody in his particular wheelhouse, that's the man to turn to. So I guess that's it for now, Cindy. So let me see. I don't remember who we have next Monday, but I'll get it out as soon as I can. Cindy.
Perfect. Say it. Oh, man, I love it.
I can't say it, but but it's there. So anyways,
Aww.
oh, wait a minute. Is this it? Ta-da!
Yay! I love it. Oh my gosh. I want
So
that
cute.
picture.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that picture?
Offline.
I need it.
It's cute. Anyways,
It is.
Cindy, wherever there is darkness, there is always
Delight.
Thank you for listening to Paratalk Radio with Ted Wolf and Psychic Cindy. Catch us next Monday for another fantastic guest. Please check out our show as well as others on the WLFE DB Radio Network. And remember, like, follow, and share with everyone.
Join us at WLFE-DB.com for upcoming shows and so much more.